right, what's my ideal 1, 2, and 3 motorcycle stable? Let's start off with just one bike. If I had to have one motorcycle that's going to fill my needs, for me personally as Yami Noob, I think I'd have to go with the 2023 Triumph Street Triple 765 RS in the Cosmic Yellow. Yes, that would be my only motorcycle, my do-everything bike, and here's the reason why. So, I don't really ride off-road too much anymore. I used to dabble a little bit, so that calls out a lot of the adventure bikes for me. Not super interested in that. I don't do a lot of big miles, big touring. You know, it's something I do occasionally, so I don't need a bike that can do big distances, has a big tank. I do, however, go to the track pretty regularly, so I need something pretty sporty, right? But I don't want a track-only motorcycle. I would be pretty bummed out if I only got to ride a bike, you know, 10 to 15 times per year. I still want to get out there, do some miles, cruise on my local twisty roads, enjoy a motorcycle out there. So, you know, a fully fared bike isn't really in the consideration. So for me, a 765 Triumph, got a break here, a 765 Triumph RS Street Triple in the Cosmic Yellow has to be the bike I go for. I think it's got the right cylinder count. I think it's got the right looks. I think it looks so sweet in that color. The motorcycle is just, I think it really ticks off all the boxes. And over something like an MT-09 SP, it's just that little bit more track capable. It features a proper super sport frame, but a little more upright with those bars. I think that's just a great bike that is perfect for carving up track days, cruising around twisty roads. And if I had to have just one bike, I think it'd have to be the Triumph Street Triple 765. So 2 motorcycles in the stable. Let's expand our horizons here. I would actually, the first bike I would get would be the Aprilia Touareg 660. And you might say, well, you just said you didn't want an adventure bike, you don't want to go touring, you don't want to go off-road. Well, what the heck, Yam? Well, now that I have 2 motorcycles in the stable that I could choose from, why not have something that's a little bit more of an all-rounder? That way, I can have a more focused and specialized motorcycle as my second bike. So, I would pick the Aprilia Touareg 660 as my do-anything, go-everywhere bike. I really, really liked the Touareg 660 when I rode it in Sardinia back in 2021. Had a ton of fun with that bike, really enjoyed it. I thought it was, it was basically a T7, but just better in every way. And yes, I know what you're going to say, Aprilia reliability, but come on, it's a better bike. Anyone who's ridden a stock Touareg 660 and a stock Yamaha T7, granted, maybe the new one's a little better. I haven't ridden the brand spanking new T7, but I've ridden plenty of older T7s. Anyone would say it's a better bike. So you're giving up a little bit of reliability for a whole lot better motorcycle. It's got a great torquey engine, a 659cc parallel twin, makes a great sound. Not too dissimilar from this GSX-8R that I'm riding right now, the kind of burbly, grumbly 270-degree parallel twin thing. You can hear that. Sounds a lot like that, you know? And I think it's just a great package all around, man. It's super comfortable for long distances, a nice twisty hill country ride. I really think the bike works very well on the side of the tire. It's got the Pirelli Rally Scorpions fitted to its standard, which is the same tire I use on my desert sled. And despite having a 21-inch front end, it flicks in beautifully. And, you know, we really were flying through a set of corners out there on that island in Sardinia. And I thought the bike just worked ridiculously well. So I really, really like the Touareg 660. I think it's a really, really special bike, and I'd love to have one as half of my 2-bike stable. But what would be the second bike? All right, so this is where I'm going to start copping out a little bit, and I'm going to give you guys some options, because I can't really pick either, because it's hard to pick a bike. My heart and my wallet says Yamaha R6 track bike. I think that would be so fun. It's the perfect platform. I love the 600 class. I had a 675R race bike for many, many years. Really enjoyed that machine. And the R6 is just the tried and true platform. You can't go wrong with a sort of lightly track prepped R6. Everybody knows everything about them. Get them dialed in. They feel real good. And they're just, you can't go wrong with an R6, you know? And so that would be one of the half, because that way I'd have a do-everything motorcycle with a Touareg. I could have a ton of fun with that thing, really enjoy myself, you know, go out and do some big rides and not worry about the sporting performance, because I have the it seems like that car really took off. I have the R6 track bike, right? I'd have that. But part of me thinks, oh man, do I really never want to ride a sport bike on the street ever again, you know? And that's kind of sad. So here's my alternative, right? I would get the Triumph Speed Triple 1200 Double R. They just came out with a really cool limited edition Breitling collab. It looks mint, but I already thought the bike looked really mint before, but I think it just looks really, really nice in that new collab. And that bike just, man, I think it's got so much going for it. It rides beautifully on road. It's such a road bike, you know, it's comfortable, supple with that electronic suspension. But then when you take it on track, it works really damn well too. I had no issues at all with it on track. I was spinning so many fun laps with that thing. It makes like 180 horsepower. It is a proper monster bike, and I really, really liked it, you know? So that would be my 2-bike stable. But what about 3 motorcycles? What would I choose? And now this is where it gets interesting, because with 3 bikes, you can really get some weird stuff and not really care too much about it. So for 3 bikes, the first bike I have to get is a ZH2. If I have 3 motorcycles, one of them can be absolutely zany and stupid, and there's few motorcycles that have made me giggle as much as a ZH2. It is so stupid. It is so, like, it should not exist. I've never ridden a stock motorcycle that gave me Turbo Hayabusa energy. I think we're going to look back on that and be like, I cannot believe Kawasaki made this thing. I cannot believe they had a supercharged engine platform across like 3 different bikes, and we just thought that was normal. It's absolutely batshit crazy. Like, it shouldn't exist. The thing makes like 200 horsepower and like 105 foot-pounds of torque. You put a flash on that bad boy in a pipe, man, it's making like 220 at the wheel, I think. They're just ludicrously fast. And the cool part about them is they're relatively comfortable, and they got this big commanding stance. I loved the ZH2, and I still do, and I would really love to have one in the future. I think it's a really cool bike. So that would certainly be one of my motorcycles. The next bike I would pick, again, a bit of a cop-out because it's hard for me to choose, but I think I'd have to go with either a KTM RC8C or a Ducati V4R. Now, why did I pick those motorcycles? Because here's the deal. If I got 3 bikes, right? If I'm doing a 3-bike stable, one of them can be a dedicated track/race bike. One of them absolutely can. I don't see why not, you know, like, because I got 2 other bikes that could go on road. So I got options when it comes to road riding, and I have my track day monster. Why the 8C or the V4R? If you guys have been following the channel for a while, you've seen me ride both of those machines on track, and they're both so ridiculously good, and in different ways, right? The RC8C is a no-compromise, real-deal race bike. It's the closest thing you can get to a real race bike from any factory. It doesn't feel like a production bike. The thing is so stiff and so aggressive and so capable and so lightweight. You know, I did about maybe 7 or 8 laps with that thing, and within 5 laps, I'd never jumped on it before, within 5 laps at my local track at Eagles Canyon Raceway, I was doing personal best lap times, some of the fastest lap times I'd ever seen on any motorcycle. And so I really think that if I'd had a whole day with that bike, I could have found a sub 2-minute lap at Eagles Canyon, which is really fast. Like, an expert level club winning time at that track is like a 156 or a 157, which I'm not going to pretend I can even do that lap time. But with the RC8C, a 159 was certainly possible, and that's smoking fast. Smoking fast. It was a similar story with the V4R. I had the immense privilege of owning that bike for a short period as a giveaway bike, and I took it on track, and I was so glad that I did, because the way that the electronics work on that bike are just phenomenal. It just is so pulled together and so nice, and it makes you feel like a superstar. You know, it manicures its power so beautifully. It's so different to the 8C because the 8C has no traction control, no ABS, nothing to save you, nothing at all. It's completely analog and raw. Whereas the V4R has all the electronics you could ever want, and they work really, really well. You can see why Ducati has so much winning pedigree right now in World Superbike and in MotoGP. That technology is just incredible. And I loved the bike, dude. The sound it makes, the exotic feel of it. I mean, it looks so good. It's such a sick bike. Like, that's a bike you could park in your garage and say, oh yeah, you could just wake up in the morning, make a cup of coffee, and just stare at the thing and just drool. And life is good, you know. That's how I want to wake up every morning. Some men dream of having supermodel wives. Not me, my friends. I just want a V4R to stare at. So it's a toss-up between those two for me. I would be happy with either. Just flip a coin, and that's a dream bike for me. So we've got the ZH2, one of those track monsters. And what's the last bike? Well, considering that this is a dream setup, but my wallet is a little more realistic, honestly, my third bike would probably be a Yamaha T7, just because I'm going to cry so much when it comes to spending money on the 8C or the V4R. Oh, imagine low-siding a V4R at Coda at, like, you know, 90 miles an hour or something like that. Oh goodness, through the S's you just lose the front and it just wipes out. You just see the cash register sounds just constantly going. So I'd have to go for a T7 just to keep my wallet happy and keep my sanity. And it would be an awesome do-everything bike. It fits the same purpose as the Touareg 660, but just a little less pizzazz, a little less charm. But I would want to keep that pizzazz and charm to the other two bikes, so I don't get too jaded, you know. So boys, that is my, oh my goodness, is this a K truck? Yo, look at this thing. Hold on, talk about dream vehicles. Look at that. That's so sick. Yeah, I'd have one of those too, so I can take my V4R to the track. Anyways, boys, that's going to wrap up today's video. My ideal 1, 2, and 3 bike stable. Remember, giveaway GSX 8R right here. Don't forget to sign up. This one's wrapping up July 5th, and you're not going to want to miss the next bike we give away. And I'm going to spoil the surprise, because if you made it this far in the video, you're a true fan. We have an MT-09 SP as our next motorcycle. So don't tell anybody that I told you. Keep the secret on the DL. But if you join up as a member, you'll stack up your entries and you'll be able to apply them towards that bike as soon as it goes live, which is a great way to support the show and a great way to have fun with what we're doing here. Thanks so much for checking out today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
Well, you made it to the end of the video. Pat yourself on the back right there. And I've heard your feedback that you thought the outros were a little weird. So we're keeping it a little bit more normal. Everything is normal. It's completely normal. And if you want this to end, you just click the video right over there. Or become a member on yammynoob.co and win this bike over here. 51 bikes given away. It's no joke.